Hey everybody, this is Grace, and in this video I'm going to talk about something that became a bit of a unplanned social experiment. I kind of had a clue before it all happened. Of course I had a clue of what could happen in this situation, but really it wasn't something that I'd sat down and planned out and said, oh, I want to see what happens, but I had a clue that something would. Okay, if that makes sense. And let me get to that. Okay, I should say before all this that my degrees are in psychology and sociology. My master's is in sociology, and I taught at college and university. This happened in Texas. I'm Texan, and I'll get more to that. Now, in this area in Texas, it happened in this area, I have lived for most of the past 40 years. I've lived in other states during these past 40 years. But mainly in this area of Texas. And one of the things I've said for many, many years is that if you come to this part of Texas, I'm probably the only true Texan you'll run into. So, of course, it's not true, but yeah, it's very rare for me to run across someone who is Texan, born and raised Texan. And I could tell and I probably will eventually, all kinds of stories about that. But this happened, like I said, in a place in Texas, and it's in Costco. And the rest as I tell the story. Basically, I realized I needed to go to Costco and buy bulk items that we always buy. And the last time Adam went there, he went on a Saturday. He went by himself. Usually he's with me if he goes on a weekend day. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. And he called me from there in a panic. He admitted he felt like he was having a panic attack. Now, this is not his norm, and he said it was because of the way that people in the store, too many, were behaving, like running into him and all this kind of stuff. Just trying to push him out of the way there first. And I said, "Welcome to my world," and he said, "I appreciate what you do." He refuses to go back there. Yeah. And he's told me that a few times lately, that it's nothing new to him. Me saying welcome to my world, and he says I appreciate what you do because of as I've mentioned so many times, I live in what I call Narcissism-ville, and I did not give it the reputation of basically too many people being narcissistic, and most think it's the whole suburb of Dallas, but it's not. It's more like areas of this suburb that you can see it. It's pretty much, as I've said before, part of the culture. And if you think, and the feeling that I've always gotten, and so it's the same for him, is that if you don't just allow it to happen, allow it to be, if you protest, say something, you're the one thought as having a problem. Now, I think many of us can understand that, and, narcissism, think about it, narcissistic people, yeah, and that's pretty much norm, blame the victim. Something's wrong with you if you don't think that it's okay. So anyway, he refused to go, and I figured I could go. I've been going out trying to exercise my knee. I had a knee injury, fell on the hardwood floor on my left knee really hard, and it was really bad. And I've been trying to exercise it, so that I think is a good way to do so. But this, it's concrete floors, and even though I wear knee pads, I didn't think walking all around that huge Costco store, it's huge, would be a good idea. And plus I would have to go to the back. School zone. Okay, where was I? Basically, not steady on my feet, I call it wobbly, and walking that length of distance probably wouldn't have been a good idea with a cane. Yeah, so when I got there, I decided I was going to get one of those electronic shopping carts. You sit in and it's got the shopping basket in front of you. And I've never used one of those. I had, whenever I was working with elderly people, I would drive it back, or something like that. I think I did. But I've never used one myself, and if you think it's just easy, think again. When I got up there was a young man. He was very friendly to me, and I said, how do I get one of those? He said, you just unplug it. And I looked at it, and it was so weird. The plug was so awkward. He saw it too, and he come over and unplugged it, for somebody with a cane and, all. So he unplugged it, and I got in it, and I said, how do I make this work? It was kind of funny, but he was very friendly, very helpful. Great, wonderful, And he was kind of juggling. He said, you don't have to go that fast. It was funny to me. He said, all you got to do is do this, and then you won't go so fast. I said, okay. Because he kind of followed me a little bit, showing me little things. And so it was great, it really was. So yes, you do have good people here. I've never said that there aren't. I've always said it's just kind of part of the culture, generally speaking. It's not everybody, of course, something along that line. It's a stereotype, and stereotypes usually are not good, pretty much all the time. But it does not fit all. And anyway, so that was kind of a good little intro to it, somebody actually helping me. And so I start driving through it, and I see that I keep going a little bit too fast, but so I slow down. And one of the first things, I've noticed that people were being very nice. And like I said, in Costco here, I had in the past called it the jungle, because you never know what's going to come at you from what side. And it's that Costco. I'm not saying all of them, but I'm not saying always. And, the day I went, it wasn't very busy, but usually it is extremely busy and crowded. This is Texas. We're used to our wide open spaces. We're used to people not crowding us, not generally speaking, of course, again. And, being right on top of you. On weekends at that Costco, forget about that. And to me, the things that you learn, the way you drive on the road, street, highway, whatever, the way you drive, it's the way you should behave in a grocery store or any store. You stay to this side and they stay to that side, and not in that Costco, not any store really. Pretty much people do that, but not that one. It's like people are zooming in front of you, all this kind of stuff, like, Adam had experienced, and made him have go into panic. I just can't stand it. I can't handle it. He called me while it was happening and just say, where do I find this and that? I want to get out of here. But yeah, that's not his norm, like I said. But yeah, people are rude. It's all about them. They're first, not everybody, but those who do are like that. They are first. They don't care if they push your shopping cart away or whatever. So imagine being in one of those electronic shopping carts. What would happen? What do you think would happen? Okay, now I should add some things in. Even though they should not matter, I'm going to state them. I'm one of these people who are highly sensitive. I cannot wear my clothing very tight. I often wear my clothing at least a size or two, or usually a size to size and a half too big. If not, I just feel it all day long. It's irritant. And so that day, it was cold. I was dressed in a hoodie. I've got this hoodie thing going on right now. Never before in my life, but now. I was wearing a hoodie and a pair of sweatpants. And, of course, shoes. But I had my knee pads on the outside, so I could adjust them. They're the kind that have Velcro. And, when I sat down, I wanted to be able to adjust them easily without, lifting all my pants legs and, my pant legs. Wait a minute. Anyway, so, you could see that it had something to do with my knees. In other words, I could think people would make that assumption. And I'm a tall woman, and I'm a strong-bodied woman. I actually have a T-shirt that says "Strong is the new pretty." I do. I really do. And anyway, so I'm 56 years old, middle-aged woman, and I could see that I probably would look frumpy, a little bit frumpy, dressed in a hoodie at my age, and I don't know, I wouldn't say my age so much, but sweatpants, going to the store. But I had to be comfortable. I mean, it was my knee is uncomfortable enough as it is. So, and I know that some people have an attitude, okay? about people who use these unless they are elderly, middle-aged, and or you know, I don't know what it would be where you live, but I know the attitude, I know the mentality, the way people think about people who are in something like that. Some of it is that you did it to yourself, especially if you're overweight. The attitude is that way. My attitude is not that way, but I know some of the attitudes that people have about this, and it's a kind of like I said, you did it to yourself, so therefore you have to pay the price, and I'm not going to do this and that. Okay, but there's that. Plus, I mean, if you use driving, the rules of the road of driving, who would you think? Now think about this. You have somebody who is, say, you know, in one of these electronic shopping carts for a purpose. They can't walk or something. And then you have people who are walking. Now, if you use the driving rules, who would be in the right? You know, when they're driving, pedestrians have the right of way on the road. But in a store, think about that situation. I did. But no. Okay, if you're driving down the road, like say that road in front of me, and somebody comes out from where I am right now and just zooms in front of you, you would say that's wrong. No, you shouldn't do that. Okay, so that's important to set that. I wish I could get this thing to adjust and stay adjusted right without the little thing in the corner. Oh well, that's just going to happen. But anyway, now, I would be in the wrong if I just ran out in front of everybody who was coming in, going on that road. I would be in the wrong. But in this store, that's what I kept saying over and over again. That people were, I've seen this driving, especially in one of the suburbs of Dallas. Oh my goodness, it's like it's the norm there. And I lived there for a short period when I was moving back to this area. Oh my goodness. People think they have the right of way. I don't get it. I don't know why they would think that. But anyway, so, people were doing that, or they were in the lane that I was in, the right lane, literally. And like you would be when you're driving here, and they would just rush over and stand right in front of me when I'm actually driving this cart, this electronic shopping cart. It's, driving it there. They would come and stand right there. Just stop. I'm like, wow. One guy, I just kept staring at him, and I think he was Indian. I just kept staring at him, he and his wife, and like, really? And finally he just kind of pushed her, moved both of them out of the way. But it was like, you see me driving here. You see this. You cannot miss me and this thing. But you're first. Okay. And then things like that kept happening. Now, most of the people, and I'm going to state this, most of the people around, most of the people in the store, the customers, all of it, were really nice. They were like respectful. Somebody who's in one of these, you don't want to run in front of them. You don't want to crash into them. None of that stuff. But the ones that aren't like that, the narcissistic ones, the abusive ones, the ones, they're first, and they're toxic people, whatever you want to call them. No, they're first. To them, they are always first. Well, I got through the store, and I was like, for some reason, I kept feeling like I was actually working out here, actually exercising out. And all I was doing was sitting in that cart and driving it. All that is like pushing a little button, pulling one side or the other, which way I'm going. And anyway, I came around the back. I went all the way to the back, came around, and I was coming out of the back part. And there was this woman coming, like this direction. Say, I'm in the right. You see in front of me. I'm driving down the road in the right way, and, driving in the store the right way. And I turn that corner, coming out, and she decides that she wanted to be first, okay? And she was in the next one or two over. And she saw me. This was a woman, around my age. She was a middle-aged woman, same ethnic group, I would say same class, all these things similar. And she came out of that, and she saw me. She looked right at me, and I looked right at her. And she purposefully moved her cart faster to get in front of me. So I would have to stop because she's first. And I looked at her like, you can imagine, with my language lately, that's not my norm. It's not going to be my norm. But no excuses for it. That's not my norm. That's not good. So, she did that, and I looked at her, and I don't know what I said. I don't know what I cannot remember. It was something like, something like, I don't know. I really don't know. I cannot remember. Because it was kind of shocking to me that somebody would have that nerve. I mean, seriously, that is pure stupidity. Or I could say pure narcissistic behavior, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. So somehow we got into a verbal altercation here, kind of thing, and she said something that, like, well, there wasn't enough room, real smart ass. And there goes my language again. And I said something back like, and you're extremely rude. And she just kind of pressed, like she was pissing off. She had to be first. But everything that she had said to me, I'm not one to back down. No, So she got it back. Whatever she said. But then as she was walking away, I said, "What can you do with this type of person? Really, the nerve!" Something like that. I would say it loud enough for her to hear. But that kind, that they're not going to care. They're still going to think they're right. My experience in life, I can't say that 100% across the board, but yeah, my experience in life is they're going to justify in their minds that they were right. And I could see this as one of those who would justify it as you did it to yourself, so I don't have to do anything. I'm first. It's your problem, not mine. That low class, not low class, low life kind of mentality. It's pathetic. It's awful. Now, of course, like I said, it kind of, I was making videos as it was happening. Not that part, I don't think. I need to look and check and see. But I was making videos, okay, little video clips. And in it, I was saying, can you believe this? Because it's the rude people that stood out, of course, like I said before. They should not. We should think more about the friendly people, and I'm going to get to that. But, more to that. But anyway, and, I do wonder if it was because of that I'm white. And I do know that some people, the woman was white too, like I said before. I don't like using the term white. But yeah, anyway. She, I know that mentality of also, now where I live is very wealthy. It's like a suburb of Dallas and North Dallas. And it has that reputation. People are kind of elitist, and I know that quite often the thought is that anybody who's in a, something like that they did it, besides that they did it to themselves and it's their problem, and so on and so forth, is that they're poor. Okay, I'm not poor. But it's an assumption, and too many, not everybody, has this view that anybody who's poor, is just, they don't need, you know what I'm saying? They just, like, they're not as worthy. See, I'm going to say it that way. That's how that mentality is, that they're just not as worthy, and they do not have to be treated with any kind of respect or dignity or anything. That it's all about the wealthy. It's all about, yeah, that's just wrong. But as I was saying, somebody like me that is white, looking kind of frumpy. Okay, really, I was looking kind of frumpy. I've already gone through that. And, with all these assumptions that people make, too many assumptions, not everybody. None of this is not everybody. I might as well say that to any of my videos. Is it ever everybody? Except, you live, you lie, that kind of thing. So, I'm not one to generalize. I really don't. But I can say tend to certain things. Anyway, if that was a judgment because of that, and that because I look strong-bodied, some people can make this assumption. Like I said, I know what some people think about these things, is that, I'm just being lazy too. Or I'm a lazy person, I want to ride around one of those when I should, strong-bodied woman shouldn't need that. She should give it to somebody who really needs it. All these kinds of things can be part of the way people think. Okay, and then some. So like I said, it became a bit of a social experiment, an unplanned one. And with that thought, yeah. I do want to say one reason why I'm saying all these, besides the fact that it's needed, is when I was a student, undergraduate and graduate, there was, my degrees, I was always doing concurrently degrees in psychology and sociology. And the difference with psychology, it really just, I don't know if it's changed much since then, but you didn't disclose anything about yourself. And like when you wrote scholarly papers or scholarly journal articles, you didn't disclose yourself. Me, anything like that. You were not in that paper. You were not. Okay? You had to minimize that to totally. Back then, they were changing at the time. Okay? They were saying they were going to change. I don't know if it ever happened. But sociologists, you put everything in there. You put why you might have any agenda, biases. You had that in the paper. Where you came from, what you are, what ethnic group, what age group, what, everything. You put it in there. And if you were more this kind of ideology or this kind of party or something, whatever, you put it in there so people could know if you would and why you would. But not so much in psychology. I can't remember ever it was allowed. Okay, so there's a difference. But at this point in my life, as I've said before in videos, these kinds of things have blended in my mind, and I even thought about it. I can remember there was a difference between what do you call your subjects or your, I cannot remember it, the difference in psychology and sociology, and the difference in, like, you're doing an experiment or you're doing a research project or you're doing research or just an experiment. I think that's psychology and the other one is sociology, but it's a blend in me many years. So yeah, but that's why I'm saying I'm disclosing all this personal information, is because I think that plays a big major role. It could possibly go a little bit deeper. Now I can tell you from 56 years old here, always been strong-bodied female, always. And when I was very young, it became, the way that people treat you, the way you think people treat you, the whole looking glass self, all this, and the way just they do treat you so differently. Then I would be treated, one way, tall, strong-bodied woman, versus, I could say like Xena-like, and versus somebody who, a woman who's very petite and very skinny or very whatever. There's going to be a difference. Unfortunately, people just don't treat people right. Yeah. I did a video on that one time before, that just because we're, strong, that doesn't mean that we're not human, Seriously. And you have emotions and feelings. Really. I don't care if male or female. Just because they're strong body doesn't make them without feelings. That they can't cry or they can't feel sadness or whatever. You would believe people think this way? Some do. So, yeah. Okay, now my experience in life is this. One of them. With this, concerning this being strong-bodied woman, is if I'm sitting down when somebody sees me, like I was sitting down in the electronic shopping cart, people will just do whatever. But I've had this experience more than once. But if I stand up, like, when somebody comes toward me, I'm going to stand up. I mean, it's not something I do to get this result, but it's just my norm. It's like if somebody's coming at me with an attitude or something, it's happened to me. And I stand up and up and up and up. I always like to say that because it's just kind of funny to me. But yeah, you see them back off and off and off and off, okay? Seriously, literally, back off. They do. Because I'm intimidating, and I've known that since I was a kid. I was tall when I was 12. I was pretty tall, and so I am a bit intimidating. My body is. Me, not so much. You know, the real me inside of this body, not so much. I don't think well, maybe I am sometimes, but because it does become a part of you. Even though I don't think in these terms all the time. Sometimes it's to this day, it still surprises me when people do that. I'm like a curious puppy. What? Really? I'm not kidding. And sometimes it still surprises me, like when I go into stores and I'm looking, standing in line, like a convenience store, it's kind of busy or something, and I'm looking around and I'm taller than everybody, male or female. And I'm looking over their heads. I can see over all the aisles and other people, and I have to quite often had that experience of somebody needing something from me just recently. Yeah, it happened. Needing somebody in a store needing something higher up and they couldn't reach it, and it was a woman around my age and her mother, I would assume, or mother-in-law, and they couldn't reach it, so I reached up and said, "Do you need help? Do you need me to get that down for you?" "Yes, if you would, please." So I did. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. But some people would say it becomes a part of you, who you are, and you might use it. I don't really use it because, like I say, sometimes I just see myself as human. You see, I'm just another human. But I do stand out, and I really don't care to stand out. I think that's why, I don't dress like the people I grew up around and still see to this day. Is the story of my life type of people, the ones with the histrionic behaviors that they want to stand out, really want to stand out, very loud. I'm not loud at all, and they're very loud with the way they dress, the look, the everything. And the person who left me a comment about that, go back and watch that video. I think you were just hearing what you wanted to hear, so you could just, go back and really watch and listen to that video. Don't make assumptions like that. I don't appreciate it. Thank you. I think rush hour traffic is almost over. But anyway, that became quite the social experiment. Unplanned one. Now, okay, I went through all this, and here I am, got my groceries and everything, and there was the cashier, basically. I said, "So which side should I take this on?" Because you really don't know. Just a regular shopping cart, you go to the right, and what do you do when it's an electronic one? So I could see it. My assumption about him would be military, former military. And it was because of his look, his dress. He looked just like somebody I knew who was a former military person. Probably the truth right there. But his attitude too. And I used to date former military guys a lot. But I could be wrong. Of course I could be wrong. Anyway, and his voice at one time was to treat me more like, infantilization, more like a child. And, like I said, I've worked with people who are, elderly people who are disabled, and people who were disabled, not elderly. And I kind of know how some people do that. And when I was taking classes for federal, local, and federal, state and federal certification to be able to work with them, that's one thing that we were taught, was to not do that. Okay, but I could see it in that guy. He was kind of offensive to the customers in front of me too. I was like, "Hey, dude, you may have been sergeant in charge in the military, but you're not here." Really, customers don't like that. But overall, he seemed nice, like a nice guy. Okay, and then they were very helpful. The woman that was helping also very helpful. And then you leave and everything, and there was, of course, somebody had to run in front of me. Yeah, it's just pure stupidity. But and then some. So then I got out, and I thought, how am I going to do this? I got these. I guess I'm going to have to drive it out there, then drive it back, then walk it back, and all that. Because I didn't know where you would put the cart. It's an electronic, big, bulky thing, and so I did. I just drove it out there, put the stuff in the back of my SUV, from there, I can stand up, like I said. I had to walk up there, just wobbly. So I did that in an Asian woman. She kind of shocked me. She's a little bit, she was a little bitty. Here I am, just, gentle giant kind of person. And she walked up to me, and she didn't know English, but she's my age. You can work it out, figure it out. And she wanted that card. And I said, okay. And I showed her how to use it, and she looked back over, and I was wondering, why did she, that was very friendly of her. That was a very friendly move of her. But then I looked and saw that it was her adult son was getting out of the driver's, and he was on a crutch. So, but it's still nice of her. Some people, seriously, they're not going to help anything. They're not going to, nothing, but she was friendly, okay? And he was thanking me, and all. And I said thank you back, because, I would have had to carry it, drive it all the way back and then walk all the way back. And so it was mutually beneficial what happened. Yeah. Sorry, I was a little amused by the guy's like 2, 3 over. He was sitting in his car. He's a young guy. He was sitting there, and he was just singing away at the top of his lungs. Then again, people might think I'm singing away at the top of my lungs. Don't realize that I have a video. I don't know what's going on with him, though. But anyway. Okay, there was that. I did have another story of a different time. Well, it was actually, that would have been like 2 days before then. I don't know if I wanted to say it in a video. I don't know if I did talk about it. So, because I do have, when I do these shopping videos, that's what I originally started doing this, because that's all that I knew I could. I didn't know that there were all these other things, I always thought YouTube was music and how-tos, okay, when I first started. But I do shopping videos, and so I did do that, and I told the story as it was happening, before and after and everything. So, and I'm going to put that up on a different channel that I put shopping videos up on. I think I've already uploaded it. Yeah, I think I uploaded before I left this morning. But I haven't listened over it, so I might have missed, what's the term I'm looking for? Unintentionally rewriting history. Yeah. But anyway, there was another story, and I think I might have mentioned it in that one or another one, of something that happened, like I said, just a few days ago, a couple of days before this one. Okay, anyway, but just, like I said, it became like an unplanned social experiment, and yeah, it's pretty much what I would expect. So many people were really nice, the very, okay, don't run out in front of somebody in one of those, and don't treat them like crap, don't think you're first. But then there were those who did. Stand right in front of you. Like, really? Seriously. I'm not saying that I think everybody should move out of my way. I'm saying I'm on my way. I'm driving, and they're going to stop and, can you do that in the road? Stop in front of somebody and just stop there? Okay, when they're in the right, you're just going to stop? Good way to get hit. Seriously. But like I said, there's good and there's bad. But I will say this, and I've said it before. I can go about 10 miles outside of this suburb, this area. It's more than one. I said it's areas of the suburb. But it's more than one suburb, I should say. And I can go outside of all that area. World of difference. You don't feel the narcissism so thick you can cut it with a knife as you do in this area of Narcissism-ville, what I call Narcissism-ville. So it was different. But you still have good people. All right, and I had started to notice, especially in the summertime. I've said this before, and I can see reason for that. But in the summertime, oh my goodness, when temperatures are in the hundreds and 110s, yeah, not everybody, everybody who behaves this way, yeah, you get the hell out of their way. They'll run you down. I like to see this big woman, this big woman down. But I did finish that, about if I stood up. If that woman that ran in front of me, if I would have stood up, she would have gotten frightened, because she was a short little woman, not really little though. But I've seen it. I could guess that would happen, because I've seen it so many times in my life. People think that they can treat me like crap, and then I stand up and they back off. And I would too if I ran across somebody like me. I would too. And I just insulted. I wouldn't be insulting somebody, wouldn't be rude to somebody like that. Just off, let me just be rude. Kind of mentality. I'm first, you gotta take my attitude no matter what. I'm not gonna be like that. And I don't back down from that kind. I know that some people think you should, and some should, because it can be dangerous. But yeah, I didn't spend all my years studying these being a sociologist just to say, okay, I just let it continue happening and not have any word, not say anything. That's the part of me that says no, nope. So, okay, I think I've said enough. I'm running out of minutes on my phone. I really need to figure out why I don't have that much memory on this phone. I've took everything off of it, in fact. Anyway, most everything. Anyway, I'm wrapping this up. I'll talk to y'all in another video.